Thanks, Robin. All right,
That's the
guys.
routine.
Thank you for joining us. My name's Deb. I'm the founder of Find Calm Here. We're a community trying to help everybody kind of find calm in the chaos of daily life. We've got some really great speakers lined up for May. And today we have Adrienne with us, and she's going to talk to us about finding calm with minimalism. And I'm going to toss it over to you.
All right. Well, welcome. I'm really excited to see all of your faces. Get to know some new people through this. We're going to be really interactive. I'm probably going to go ahead and mute most of us for the time being and then unmute you guys as you speak and share. But I don't want that to discourage you. Certainly at any point, unmute yourself, share, add to the conversation. I want this to be really involved and together, okay? Also, I'll have my chat window up, so if you feel like, I'm not so sure I want to unmute myself, I just want to put a couple comments in there, that's totally fine too, okay? Perfect. All right, so I am going to share my screen just so we have something hopefully pretty to look at. And there we go. You should see my PowerPoint presentation now, maybe. Perfect. Thank you. So my name's Adrienne, and I am a student activities director at Central Penn College. So I get to plan fun events for college students, which I love. I'm also a podcaster. I teamed up with two of my really close girlfriends to create the Pirate Life podcast, which I believe was it Nick? Is he the one that does the adventure? The partner that talks about adventure? Deb, yes? Okay, I don't see him on here right at this second.
Yeah, I think he fell off, but I guess he's going to come back. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talk a lot about that, so that's just another thing that I'm into, but I love having the opportunity to talk about minimalism. It's certainly something that I am very passionate about. Plan for today. Let's define it. We're going to talk about some downsizing adventures, and they are adventures. Some positive changes that minimalism has brought into my own life, some really awesome peeps that I think are worth following, and some tips and tricks to get you started. Okay, so let's just start out. First question, take 30 seconds, write some notes in your journal or in the chat screen. How would you define minimalism? What does it mean to you? All right, now, I would love to hear what some of you might have shared as your definition of minimalism, if you're willing. Is anybody able to unmute themselves and maybe share a couple of tidbits?
I'll go.
Perfect. Carolyn, what do you have?
Okay, so for me, it's living with the least amount of possessions as possible for my comfort and joy without all the external distractions in like my headspace, in my physical space.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I love all of that. And I love how you put in the chat about without the distractions. I feel so meaningful.
If
Priscilla,
you see my space behind me, I have a long way to go still, but I've made a lot of progress.
Carolyn is perfect. It's such a work in progress. Like I have been doing it for years, and each round I feel like I get a little deeper and it's a little bit different. So you're where you need to be.
Yeah.
Priscilla, I saw that you put something in the chat. Living with the least amount of material possessions as possible while being content. I love that. That's certainly a great way to look at it too. Any other thoughts on what minimalism means to them?
I do. I look at it as anxiety-free. Like, if I'm living a good minimalistic life, I'm anxiety-free. Like, because my stuff really gives me anxiety.
I have a feeling, Robin, that you are not alone in that.
And like someone who just went before me, I've gone through a ton of stuff, and it's been like a year that I've been purging, and it's still like, oh, now I got to go back through the box again. You know, it seems never ending, but I am making strides. So.
Well, I hate to be like a negative Nelly, but I will say this. It is never ending. It is a process. So if I feel like if you set your goal as it's going to be done on this day, it just doesn't work. At least it hasn't in my life worked that way. It's just a constant, like you develop routines that you can keep building it, and it becomes a constant kind of way of life as opposed to like a task to do. So you are right on track, Robin.
Good. That makes me feel better. That makes me feel much better. Thank you.
It's a positive thing. It's definitely a positive thing. Any other comments before I share? Okay. So for me, I define minimalism as, first of all, there's no hard rules. It is not like I'm going to be a minimalist, so I can only have white walls and one couch and one chair, and I'm not allowed books, and I'm not allowed to ever like go to the store and buy clothing or have anything in my life that brings me joy. Nope, that is not how I do. There's no hard rules to this. It is really about creating your own rules. The goal is not to feel like going without, but I love this word here, intention, which to me is truly what it's all about. And I forget who had said it in the chat, but there was someone that had mentioned just the idea of truly bringing in the things that add value and to get rid of the things that don't. So intention, I think, is a really powerful word. Okay, so we're going to have a journal moment, okay? And we're going to start out negative, but just to stick with me for the negative, I promise we're going to end happier than this. I want you to take a second in your journals and think of a place in your home that, you know, I think it was Robin brought the word anxiety to the forefront. I want you to think of that place in your house. Is it the closet? Maybe when you're trying to get dressed in the morning? Is it the dining room table that you never can eat at because there's stuff on top of it? Pick up the place, and I want you to journal. We're going to take like a minute or two and journal about what that place, what's happening in that place, what it makes you feel. Stick to the yuck right now. We're going to go to the yum in a minute. Stick to the yuck. What are you feeling in that place? I wish we had background music, Deb. I feel like we should put on some like calming, like background music or something. Maybe I have to do it on my end because I'm sharing my screen. I'm not sure.
I can turn the opera up if you want. I'm listening to the opera.
I could play some music. I just, yeah, I could play some music. We're probably already past that for now. But if you want me to for the next journal prompt, I can. I'll find some.
Okay.
How's this? Can you hear it?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, okay. So listen. I love the music. This is good. We're going to go back to that in just a minute, though, because right now I want to hear, dump them in the chat. You can unmute yourselves and share. Tell me, what are these spaces in your house that are making the yucks?
I'll go. This is Nick. I have a list of a few spaces, but one that's really top of mind right now is the basement. and it's totally disorganized. When I go down there, I feel disorganized. I feel anxiety, overwhelmed, frustrated, wasteful, like I want to run away.
Okay.
Pretty
All not good feelings, right?
Terrible feelings. Yeah.
What about you, Heather? I'm sorry, I'm totally calling you out. Is that okay? What place was it for you? I'm trying to make sure we hear from everybody.
So the place for me is actually my my outbuilding, because in the outbuilding I have totes and totes and totes of Barbies that my family collected for me when I was a kid. So I have like so many Christmas Barbies and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't want to tote that around with me, but it's like anxiety inducing and overwhelming because I don't really know what to do with them, nor do I know anything about their value or I don't.
Okay, that is such a specific, I really appreciate you sharing that. We can talk a little bit more about that later. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to view that and find out what would be the best way to, like, are you thinking about, like, actually, no, we're going to journal about that, so I'm not even going to ask you that yet. So, okay, so the totes of Barbies in the back, that's what's stressing you out, all right? How about Stephanie? What about you?
I wrote down my room. I just have like little piles of like my desk I cleared off, but like my cabinet, my dresser, and what you were saying, like I've been setting deadlines for myself. Like I want it done by a certain time, and I think that causes me more anxiety to like try to rush and get through it. So I kind of like the idea of not having like an end date, and it's always like a work in progress.
Yeah. Okay, good. Does anybody else want to share theirs? I know we don't all need to go around, but is there anybody else that wanted to share maybe the place that is the challenge for them?
I will.
Great.
So mine's a little different because my home is here basically, but when I sold a place in Brooklyn, I moved a bunch of stuff into my mom's, thinking it was short-term, into her basement, and it's been longer than I thought. So it's mostly paperwork. Oh my God, it's mostly papers. Somehow I think they're important, or I'll need them someday, or something. I don't know. Anyway, so
I think it's interesting that each of us kind of have a different, like, kind of thing that's the most challenging. You know, Marty's got the paper, Heather's got the Barbies. Like there's certain things that we all are kind of drawn to, that I want to collect this stuff. I want to keep this stuff. Any other shares before we go to the next journal opportunity?
Unless somebody else wants to go who hasn't spoken.
We would love to hear from you, Carolyn.
Okay. So I've got some physical stuff to deal with still, but I've been doing the minimalization for a couple of years, so I feel like I've got the handle over the anxiety part of that. What's causing me a lot of anxiety is the non-physical stuff, the stuff that's in my computers. So all the photos, all the documents, like all those files that aren't organized, and you know, I know that there's important stuff in there and I don't want to lose it, but I don't back up, and it's just so unorganized, and to sit down and just like knock it all out is overwhelming. But it's the emails, it's just all so much clutter. It causes me a lot of anxiety to feel like I don't have a handle on this, and you know, my work is on the computer, so I really need to be organized, as many of you have work on the computer.
Carolyn, I am feeling your anxiety as you're talking about this. Like, I can tell this is like
it's radiating, isn't it?
But again, it's interesting. We have the paper, we have the things, we have the digital artifact.
Digital, yeah.
And they all are taking up space in our minds and our worlds, and sucking up some energy that maybe we want to spend elsewhere, right?
Exactly.
Carolyn, thank you for sharing that. That was certainly a good thing to add to the mix. I'm going to go ahead and just flip that switch, okay? I want you, whatever your trouble zone was, your yuck zone, the next 2 minutes, I want you to take, what would it look like if it were organized? If it was the way you want it to be? So Heather, those Barbies, are they in the totes, or do you sell off the ones you don't care about and have a beautiful display case? I don't know. I'm totally making this up. So you write your dream. You know, Marty, those papers, are they there? Are they gone? Are they scanned? Are they burned? Like what would that world look like? The perfect world without the stress of this, but whatever the opposite is. Carolyn, what do you feel when you sit down at your desk? How does that look when things are organized? You know, Stephanie, when you're getting ready in the morning and those, I don't even want to tell you. You tell me. I want you to take 2 minutes. I believe someone might play us some lovely tunes to enjoy. And we are going to imagine the vision.
Can you hear the music?
Now I can, I think.
Hold on. Here we go. Much better.
This is very relaxing. Deb, are you the one playing this?
Yeah, is it good? Is it all right?
I would have played some Taylor Swift, but
This is my reading music.
I feel like, no, we should have done Queen Elsa. Like, Let It Go. I won't sing it.
We could end with that if you want. I'll find it for us.
To be like our theme song, our minimalist theme song. All right, so it looks like I'm seeing faces up from their journals. So I would love to hear some of the opposite side of things. So who haven't? Ryan, are you there? Hello. I don't get to see you, but are you logged in? You are muted.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm listening in while I run around do stuff at the house today. So.
Okay, you are perfect. So I don't know. I do this. I teach as well, and I put my students on the spot all the time in class. So I totally won't do that to you, Ryan. But if you did want to share maybe your vision of an area in your life, like your closet or your whatever the area that you select, if you wanted to share, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, but specifically my basement right now. And for me, it's clearing out all the stuff that has been just sitting there that I've been saying that I'm going to get rid of. So I've started to do a lot of the organizing. So I have a whole pile of stuff just by the door to go out. But I think clearing that out, and then that makes room for other stuff to spread out and organize and structure.
So what's it feel in the basement when this is done? What does it feel like? What's it going to feel like?
Organized and structured.
Okay. Do you think you'll be a little calmer when you're going into your basement?
No, because I got other areas I got to tackle then. So for the basement, yes, more, but the basement's got to get clear so I can. I'm going to start renovating my upstairs, so I need to make room to clear out my main floor so I can do all the work. So clears one bucket, but then more buckets fill that cascading waterfall.
All right, Robin, how about you?
Okay, so there is hope. So Marty, I just did my paperwork from all my years of, I literally had every single bank statement. I'm 51. So from when I was 18, like every piece of paper. that's done. It feels so good. Like I can find things in my little file cabinet. I got 2 file cabinets. It's perfect. So I finally let go of that stuff because I turned 50 last year. So that was like so paperwork was one. Now I'm down to like stuff. I've got 3 outbuildings that's a whole nother issue. But I want to find homes for things. And like someone who just said, I've got a bag by the door from Salvation Army. I've got all these, it's like different sections, you know. Some things are antiques that I don't want to part with, family heirlooms. I've got totes of pictures. Remember the old days when we had pictures? I really don't want to toss those out.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's like a little section. So depending on my mood swings, I will tackle like a corner or a basket. I got a basket of stuff. I do want to share. I always text my friends when I'm like, okay, I went through the box and I found $2.65 worth of change, 4 pencils, 7 pens, a couple of golf tees, like all this. Every little cup of stuff has the same cup of stuff. 10 nail files, magic markers, you know, so that's kind of like my thing. So I'm like, oh, I cleaned out another box, and then I'll list like all the things I found, which is always the same thing. So like this, do you know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because so many times, how many of us have bought something? I don't have tape, I don't have pencils, or I don't have whatever random thing. And then you buy those things, and then you find the box in the other room that had like 5 of those things.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. My little drawers always have the same things, but I've made it to where now I can unpack those. I have now a drawer full of pens. You know, my change all goes in one place, so I'm doing it. But
well, that's good. That's good.
It's taking a while.
All right, one more person. Let's hear a positive. Let me hear the positive vision.
I'll go, Adrienne.
All right, good, Nick.
So yeah, the basement. I want the tools to be organized. Like everything is, I know where it is at a glance. And I wrote the word sacred creative space. I want to have a little shop down there. So that's what I want it to feel like when I walk in there. Okay, that's a really, like, I could feel that, right? Could we all feel that? What that space is going to, like, it's organized. And he is not only going to be organized, but it's going to be a space where he can then use it to create. So that's a very specific vision. And that is so, I think, a great way to go into that project, because you know what your end result is going to be and how good that's going to feel. So I love that. That's awesome. Thanks. So let's go ahead. I'll share a little bit about my story and how some things that might have helped me. But again, we're going to keep the conversation going and have lots more opportunity for that. I will say that I came from a family of collectors. My mom is not on this call, but we had a lot of Beanie Babies and Boyd's Bears and Cat's Meow houses and Longaberger baskets. And like we were a family of collectors. We always had a lot of stuff. So my dad, he certainly, and I actually have some members of my family that were like legitimate hoarders that had serious masses of stuff that we then went through. I'm a little bit of a tree hugger, so certainly I've always been focused on sustainability. So that was something that kind of urged me in this direction. But I think what really sealed the deal was, who here has watched Minimalism on Netflix? Okay, if your hand is not up, I totally encourage you to watch it. This was what totally like kicked it off for me. These 2 guys who are called the Minimalists now, who we'll mention a little bit later, basically had, 6-figure jobs, multiple cars, all the financial resources that they thought they had wanted, and all the things that they thought they had wanted, and they weren't happy. So they took a journey to reduce their stuff and really found a really cool recipe for happiness along the way. So if you haven't watched it, totally recommend you check that out. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go.
Some of my downsizing adventures. So when I first got into this, I was reading all the books and trying all the methods. And I feel like I have found, remember when I said there were no rules to this? It's about finding what works for you. I really mean that. So for me, there were 3 that I tried that I loved. It was something called the Purge, which was my first adventure. Marie Kondo, who we'll talk about, and the Minsgame. All really cool, fun ways to downsize. So this is me on the left in the picture with Megan Peterson, who's one of my coworkers. She does this annual systematic, like every January, she literally goes through every room in her house and does it deliberately to get rid of all of the things that never seem to go away. So somehow every year we end up with half a dozen coffee mugs, 3 or 4 travel mugs, like those things that just kind of, all the tchotchkes from the stuff, like the tote bags, whatever comes into our lives in a year. She does this systematic approach. And I kind of copied that off of her. And that was the first step. But like anything, it's a process. And that was only the first level. Then I read The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Who's read that? Got some hands there too. Thought this was a really good book. Certainly some tidbits that I thought were really worthwhile. You can see that, like the kind of steps that she has here. Commit yourself to tidying up. Imagine your ideal lifestyle, which we all have envisioned, at least for one area of our home today. Finish discarding first. Before getting rid of items, sincerely thank items for serving its purpose. That seems like a little thing, but did you ever have like that pair of shoes that really, really hurt your feet, but maybe you spent too much money on them and you're like, oh, I can't get rid of that. I spent $100 on those suckers. Like, I have to keep them. But they really hurt your feet and you have, like, you cannot imagine having to shove your feet in them ever again, right? I'm seeing some nods. Ladies, you understand this. It has helped me to be able to say, thank you, shoes, for that one really painful night that I got to wear you. You are now going to go and bring somebody else joy. And then I'm actually realizing that whatever that item is sitting in my closet that I have to keep because I spent that much money on it, I'm never going to enjoy that item again. But if I am able to give it to somebody else who maybe has smaller feet, that the journey of those shoes continues and they're able to bring joy to somebody else. I liked this tip too, tidy by category, not location. So if you look in your downstairs closet, you might have 3 coats in there. And then upstairs in the closet up there, you might have another 2 coats. But what about the back closet in the mud room? Are there more coats in there? So Marie Kondo does this good, I think a good tip of put all the coats together. How many coats do you really need, right? And when you're looking at them as opposed to looking at 3, when you're looking at 3 in the one closet, what's harder to say, well, but I don't know if I can really get rid of any of them. But if you have all of your coats or whatever item it is together in one place, it's really helpful. Then you can see really what you have and which items are worth keeping. Follow the right order, another worthwhile thing. So Heather, the Barbies, probably not, like there's sentimental value there, I'm assuming. So that's probably a tough space to start. Start with the things you don't care about. Get the flow going, right? And sometimes that's a little bit easier. The first time I got rid of stuff, it was the 20 mugs that we're never going to use and the books that I was never going to read and just the free tote bag, that like the junk that you don't care about. And then I gradually progressed. Then the next layer was, oh, you know what? I'm going to look through this. I can get this book at the library. Somebody else might want to read this. And then I went through another layer. But it does help if you don't, like there were things in my house that I was keeping because, well, it was given to me by this person. And even though I hated this item or it did not, like it was shoved in a box somewhere, I never looked at it, never appreciated it, never really cared about it. But it had that weight to it because of maybe who gave it to me. Do them later. Once you get warmed up, work up to that process. And also a great question is ask yourself if it sparks joy. If it doesn't, so when you walk into your closet in the morning and you're getting ready for work, do you have to try on 5 things before you are able to find an outfit? Or are you able to just grab anything and put it on because everything in your closet is something that fits, looks good, and makes you feel good? The goal is the latter. So if it's something that doesn't spark joy, maybe you bought it on sale and it was a good deal, you're going to keep it. If it doesn't actually make you look and feel good, get rid of it, because all it's doing is wasting your time in the morning. You're never going to make a different choice about that shirt. It's always going to make you not feel so good. So that's a good place to, the sparks joy idea, I think is a good kind of guideline. This one's fun. Has anybody played or heard of the Minsgame? Okay, so I'm totally recommending. I have purged a lot in my house, so I don't know if I could play this game very well right now, but I'd totally be down to try if anybody wants to connect with me in any way on Facebook or wherever, or in the community. The Minsgame, you start day 1, you get rid of 1 thing. Easy, right? Day 2, you get rid of 2 things. Day 3, 3. All the way till the end of the month. So by the end of the month, you've actually gotten rid of 496 items. The goal is basically to get everybody to the end of the month or to see who can make it the longest. So it's totally fun. I've done this with my friends. We've made little Facebook groups that we've been able to encourage and challenge each other and post pictures of our massive bags of stuff that we're getting rid of. And that's been a really fun kind of challenge and way to do that. So take 30 seconds. I want you to write maybe some names of some people that you think it might be fun to team up with. Who can help you in this process? Who's supportive of you? And you can all put my name on this list because I would love to be able to keep in contact with you guys. And I can't help myself. I love talking about like this kind of stuff. So I'm always up for a chat about it.
You want some music or no?
I think this is going to be a quick one. So,
all right. Cookie. Yeah,
Carolyn, what do you think? Who are your resources?
You. My mom, because she's doing much the same thing. She moved from a 2,000 square foot house last year into a rental and took rid of a lot of things, but she took a lot with her, so she's still going through everything. So I think we can be a big support for each other. One of my friends, Carrie, because she's doing the same thing, kind of going through some of the processes that you talked about. Marie Kondo, especially, is his name Kondo? I can't remember. That's who I came up with off the top of my head. I'm sure there's more people out there. I'm sure I can create a Facebook group out of it.
It is, I'm telling you, it is more fun to do it with other people. Like if you can, I mean, anything's more fun if you like have other people involved. You can kind of make it a game, enjoy it. So I know it worked well for me. I would totally recommend. Yeah. How about you? Who are your resources? Who do you have on your team to help with this? Oh. Robin, are you there?
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. I didn't hear who you asked for. I'm sorry.
I'm calling you out, Robin. I want to hear from you.
Well, it's funny. So I have played that Minsgame before. I didn't know it had a name. And years ago, I had this boyfriend, and I used to love yard sales. That's like not good for a hoarder like myself. And the rule was if I bought one thing, I'd have to get rid of 7 things.
Oh, that's
which really stopped me from like buying junk. It was great. So I have my close friends and family. We all kind of joke like, Robin, it's time, or else we're going to put you on that show, The Hoarders. And I'm not quite that bad, but I do like that show because it makes me feel better about myself. And so yeah, and also somebody just said their parent. My dad did the same thing. He moved out of a huge house, but unfortunately, I ended up with a lot of the stuff, and that's what's in my shed. So I'm gonna have to start attacking that because that was about 4 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So, those they just keep happening. But in my head, I think I have it in my head at this point because I've really gone through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a year into clearing out, those big pus piles.
I'll say this, like for me, the first time I did it, surface level, and each time got a little deeper, but
yeah,
it took years. Like I've been considered myself a minimalist probably, I don't know, probably 5 years now, 6 years, but it was a process, and it it's a process, and you'll get there.
Yep, I have hope.
Nick, how about you?
I put you.
Yes.
My wife, my kids, even though they're young. One of my best friends, Pete, and my mom. And then I did make a note when Carolyn said something about Facebook. I think a lot of people would be excited by the possibilities here. I did read Marie Kondo's book, and I jumped right in. So I'm like into the miscellany, which is starting to get much more difficult, and with everything going on, like I'm the kind of guy who's like, okay, she says do it in 2 days, let's do it in 2 days, and then my wife is like, pump the brakes, buddy. So I think teaming up it would be really helpful, and I love what you said. Just the examples of it just takes time. So to have that
It
patience.
does. But it feels good when you get there. It really does.
Yeah, every step of the way feels good.
Mm-hmm. All right, one more person. Marty, who's on your team?
So my mom's on the team, and the challenge is that my friendship circle is not where my mother is. That I moved out of Brooklyn, New York, and moved my stuff up there. So I think the team is going to be more, people who can kind of join me virtually, like, just kind of, they can be online like this while I'm in the basement going through things, and, vice versa. I can help them. So yeah, I have a friend who's going through her house to put it on the market. So I think we can be good buddies as well.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So here is actually my living room. And you'll see, there's stuff in there. It's not like there isn't stuff. But I will say that I got the best compliment. One of my girlfriends was visiting me, and she said to me, "Wow, your living room looks well curated." And I was like, because that was what I was going for. Like when you think about your stuff, there is this world where you can come home where every shirt makes you feel good, every picture makes you smile, everything in your home is something that you truly love and value and appreciate. And it sounds like a dream. You don't walk to the mall and have that happen. You don't walk anywhere and have that happen. But it can happen. If you intentionally get rid of the stuff that's not adding value to you, you can walk in and be surrounded by your favorite things every single day, which certainly brings me a lot of joy in my home. So the compliment of saying that my home is well curated, I love that. I love that I could tell you about every single thing in that room and why it's special to me and why it made the cut. Basically, things have to earn their way into my house now. Instead of trying to figure out what to get rid of, now it's trying to, are they good enough to earn their way in? Another thing that I thought was really cool, see this Buffy the Vampire Slayer mug? So I have a very strong opinion that size matters when it comes to coffee mugs. And let me tell you, that Buffy the Vampire Slayer mug did not make the cut. But we talked a little bit about those sentimental items. This was given to me by one of my very best friends when we were college students. We were in student government together. We did this memorable mug exchange. I can never get rid of this mug. I treasure all of those memories about it. But it also sitting in the back of all of my mugs in my kitchen cabinet. If you're not appreciating it, it's not like, why find a way to appreciate it. If you love it so much, it shouldn't live in a separate room in your house, you know, put it somewhere where you can enjoy it. And we ended up repurposing it. And now I use it every single morning. I have my makeup brushes in there. And then every single morning I get to have, like, I get to think of him and think of that memory. And it brings positive emotions and memories every single day, which it did not do hiding in the back of the closet or in the back of the cabinet with the other coffee mugs. So figuring out how to use things in the best way possible that you can actually enjoy and appreciate them, I think is so important. I will say creativity. Some say that being a minimalist does encourage creativity because if you don't have everything at your fingertips, then sometimes you have to think of alternative ways to get things done. The way this picture is actually a funny tale to tell, because at one point through my minimizing, I thought, I don't need a vase. My husband never buys me flowers. Why would I need a vase? Got rid of all of them. And then what does he do? This beautiful bouquet, which I love. I was so thankful for. We had not one vase in the house. And what you see is my creativity as I put those flowers in my blender. We worked it out. And also, it certainly has, I don't know how many of you follow Dave Ramsey. I do follow him in the baby steps. A few years ago, before I had started this process, credit cards were maxed out, was not in a good place financially. And just as these two things kind of happened separately. It wasn't intentionally combined, but they really mirrored and supported each other. So following Dave Ramsey's practices as well as minimizing really helped to put me on a better track there too. Never buy anything in Amazon the first day you put it in your cart. You let it sit there, make it, wait it out in that save for later list until at least a day, longer if you can hold it. I cannot tell you how many times I've been like, I need this thing. Put it in the save for later, and then the next day was like, what was I thinking? I do not need that thing. It happens to me all the time. So wait, because everything that you bring in the house, yes, it's financial cost, but then you have to decide, where am I going to put it? How am I going to clean it? Do I have to care for it? I'm going to have to think about it. There's so much more than just the cost of that item financially when you bring things into your home. And also, one of the most important things is the feeling in my home is much different. It's much calmer. Coming home is actually a place for me to relax now and enjoy. Like I said, everything around me are things that are meaningful to me and that I love. I am not anti-stuff. Stuff is not bad. Stuff that doesn't add value to your life is bad. Get rid of that. Keep the things that truly bring you joy and put them in a place where you can value and appreciate them. And it certainly allows you to bring that calm into your life. So I'm not just talking about stuff. It totally applies to something more valuable, which is time. So do you want to worry about stuff, or do you want to be able to have that time to do something better with it? And I have pictures of family and adventures and things that have happened in my own life over here. But I'm going to give you guys just a minute to journal here next. What could you do with more time to focus on what really matters? Have at it. Nick, I'm thinking of all the things you're going to create in the basement. You know, like I'm thinking of that. Like, what could you do without having to worry about stuff to focus on what really matters? Thank you, Deb.
Can you hear it okay?
Yep. Little something in the background.
How's that? Is that enough time?
I think that was perfect. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the share for a second just because I want to see all your faces. Again, I can't see you all when I have the PowerPoint up. I'd love to hear some of the things that you're going to do, the adventures that you might have with that additional time you'll have. Priscilla, how about you? Can I call on you?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it's a little tricky with the quarantine, but I would combine both with now and post-quarantine. Have more opportunities to do personal reading, journaling, talking with family and friends, and then, of course, going on some day trips in the local areas.
I love that. How about you, Heather?
I specifically focused on the idea that, I'd have more time to travel just because it'd be easier because I'd have less stuff to worry about when I do travel. And then also it'd make it easier to pack, because I know exactly where everything is. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. I guess I'd also have, more time to learn some stuff and a better environment to learn in, one that's more calm and less messy. So I'd be less anxious or stressed when learning.
I'm picturing Heather getting that last minute invitation to, hey, let's fly to Australia. Let's go. And Heather's like, it's going to take me a minute to pack. Just hold on. Bam, you're done. Because you don't have to find your suitcase. You don't have to find anything. You know right where it is. You're
Right.
loaded and ready to fly, right?
Exactly.
I love that. Stephanie, how about you?
I wrote down that just like not having to worry about constantly decluttering my mind, just having it done is going to just free up a lot of space in my mind. Just I want to make a website for myself and just kind of write about my experiences. So just freeing up time to focus on myself.
I love that. Give me one more. Who wants to go? One other person? I'll totally call you out if you want me to, or you can volunteer.
I'll go. I love volunteering. A lot of stuff. I want to explore a woodworking hobby. I want to go do more hiking and camping, and spend more time with the kids and be able to just be. The idea of having that, sacred space, or coming home, like you were talking about your home, and just, not feel that anxiety.
Lightening your load, I will say, it feels good. I bet through the process of this, we've gotten rid of half of the things in our home. My husband, he's like, oh, it wasn't that much, but it was. We probably got at least half of the things that were in our home are no longer in our home. I used to bring so much into the house that I didn't even think about. My mom sold Longaberger baskets. I have never once ever committed to the purchase of a Longaberger basket, right? I've never said I value this enough I'm going to put my money to buy it. But yet at one point in my home, I bet there were close to 100. Because there were so many, she'd be like, oh, you should take this, or you should because she sold them for years, and she bought every single one, and then my aunt bought every single one, because, we're a family of collectors, and then whatever they would be like, oh yeah, you should have this too. I never once was like, I really need this Longaberger basket, but yet I had them everywhere. And then at some point I was like, wait a second, do I really want this here? And certainly I still have a few, but they're ones that are not like sitting there decorative. There are ones that I put my laundry in, or I have one that I have blankets in that are in my closet. Like they're actual things that are being used. But I sent them all back. Now my mom has a sunroom totally filled with Longaberger baskets. And we'll talk every once in a while. She thinks, oh, it'd be so nice to sit in that room and watch TV, so she doesn't have to watch what my stepdad's watching. She would love to just sit in that room and watch TV, but she has to get rid of the baskets. But then she thinks, oh, but they're worth so much money. They're worth so much, like they have this value, which there is a value. I don't think she should just sell them on the street, but or just give them away unless she wanted to. She certainly could possibly sell them and get something for them, but at some point, I think there has to be you have to weigh the cost that you spent on them versus the cost of keeping them and not being able to own your space and enjoy it in the way that you want to. So she's going to be so upset. I'm totally calling her out on this. Love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. She's going to appreciate that. But yeah, so I will share real quick. I know we're almost out of time, but I want to give you a couple of resources that I think are worthwhile to check out. If you are looking to read more, do more, I would still love to continue to connect with you guys, but Minimalists.com. Two guys, Deb and I actually had the chance to meet them. They're awesome, and they have a podcast that's great to listen to. They have a lot of really cool guidelines. Not everybody's recipe is going to work. You know, some people, does this bring me joy question is what they use. The minimalists offer a couple of rules, like if you didn't use it in 90 days and you're not going to use it in the future 90 days, well, then you don't need to keep it, right? Or if it's something that you can buy for less than $20 and in less than 20 minutes, and you don't then you can get rid of it. You don't need to keep it. So if you're struggling with what should keep and what should go, they have some helpful rules. But like anything, there's no hard, fast, and true. Like you take what you want and what works for you from these resources. Courtney Carver, Project 333. Oh, here's the Minimalist. There we are when we all got to meet them. Got to hug them. Yeah, it was awesome. Their books are great too. Courtney Carver did Project 333, where she took 33 items in her closet and only wore them for 33 months. Now, you don't count underwear and you don't count gym clothes, but you do count shoes and you do count accessories. So the picture on the left is actually when I did my Project 333. And it was amazing because she was so worried when she did it that people would notice that she wasn't wearing different things every day. She did it for like a year and nobody noticed it. She finally told people that she was doing it and they didn't have a clue. But that's certainly the idea of a capsule wardrobe is kind of a fun project to try. Final tips, find your why. So you took that time to visualize what that space is going to be like. Keep that in mind as you're working towards it and start small. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to clean my house and do it all while we're here on quarantine. It could be, I'm going to take care of the junk drawer. I'm going to take care of the dining room. Whatever that one point is, start somewhere. Or, again, it's what works best for you. Start big. Ryan Nicodemus, who's one of the minimalists, he actually literally boxed up everything in his home, everything, and it had to earn its way back. He called it a packing party. So everything got boxed. Instead of having to go through and take out, or take out what you're getting rid of, he boxed it up and only took out what he was using. And if he didn't use it, he got rid of the rest of it. So, and he did that like that. I think that's based on what we all have different levels of anxiety about that. So I feel like you have to do what's comfortable and supportive for you. The other thing is create systems. We talked about it being a process. There is always a box or a bag that's in my hallway closet. That's my Goodwill bag. Always. So then I never have to make an intentional, well, I'm going to spend Saturday morning looking through my home to see what I can get rid of. I'm in my closet. I tried a shirt on. You know what? It's not fitting so great today. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in the Goodwill bag right away. So that's a process. The bag gets full, you drop it off. It's set up, it's good to go. So that is really helpful. Instead of making it something that is, you're only doing it at set times, it's a system. It's part of your life, just a natural habit. And the final thing is, if it brings you joy, keep it. It's okay. Being a minimalist is not about getting rid of stuff that you appreciate and enjoy and love. It's keeping those things and getting rid of the wishy-washy stuff. All right, there's my email. You are totally welcome to email me and keep in contact. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. And I'd be happy to friend any of you guys and keep the conversation going. I also have a podcast called The Pirate Life Podcast. We have a Facebook page for that, and you're welcome to like that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share and just kind of get any final thoughts, questions. Open the floor to you guys. We are a couple minutes past our time. I'm sorry. Carolyn, yeah.
Okay, any thoughts in dealing with, you get rid of something and then some period of time goes by and you're like, oh, that was priceless, like sentimentally or something. For example, I had some festival posters and I had a lot of posters. So I went through and got rid of a good amount of them not too long ago. And I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I'd kept those. But I mean, any thoughts about how you deal with that? Because there's no getting it back. It went into the recycling. It's gone.
You know, it's certainly part of the process. It is not a perfect process, and I would be lying if I said I didn't ever get rid of, I mean, the example with putting my flowers in my blender is one example. It would be wrong to say I didn't ever get rid of something that I was like, oh, I should have kept that. It's not a perfect process, but I will say that the benefits of getting rid of what you got rid of in my opinion, at least in my example, outweigh that, oh, I should have kept that, right? There have been very rare instances that I have felt the desire to, like, I wish I would have kept something. Yeah, and maybe, like, what was is there a specific reason why you wish you would have kept that one?
Just basic overall sentimental reasons, like,
yeah,
nothing really specific. Just, I kind of wish I still had that to look at. I took pictures of them, so
I was gonna say, good.
I can have them digitally, but it's not the same as like having it on my wall. Yeah. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'll get over it. It's not going to keep me up at night. Just wondering if you had any thoughts around that. But yeah, I definitely agree that the benefits of getting rid do outweigh benefits of keeping it. Because you're still, I move a lot. So everything that I can, I drag a lot of things with me. And anything I can do to avoid.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get to say goodbye to Marty. I'm sorry, Marty. All right. Picture collage. Robin, that's a good idea. Tell us about that.
No, I was just suggesting, like, if she had pictures of it, maybe make like a nice one poster that you could, you know, like look at, and you know, instead of like a whole poster, you're gonna just look through. It'd be like a little tiny poster collection. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Deb has this beautiful. They were little. Deb, you might have to unmute yourself and correct me on this. The little slides They were your grandpa's slides.
Yeah.
And you turned them into curtains.
Yeah.
So that's a way that you can repurpose something that, you know, you may not be using it in the capacity or even need it in the capacity that you have, but is there a way to repurpose it that allows you to appreciate it? You know, take those old t-shirts that you're never going to wear again and make them a quilt. You can enjoy them. Take those slides that you're probably not very often going to be able to put in the machine and make them go around and project, and turn them into a curtain so you can enjoy them every single day.
That was crazy that as I was doing that project, I thought about how my grandfather put these slides how many years ago into these like plastic sleeves, closed the book, put it on a shelf, and then 40 years later, I'm opening this binder and like pulling them out and like creating this thing. It's just kind of weird, like how you, when he put those, I just kept having this feeling of like, it's kind of weird because like now I'm touching something that he was like really interacting with 40 years, like before I was born 40 years ago or something. And it's like, it's just crazy. And then like now that I'm sharing them, all of my family members are like it's pictures of my aunt when she was 5, and it's my sister's birthday when she was 3 and stuff like that. And now I get to see those pictures, and as well as the pictures of my grandparents that have passed a long time ago. So I'm really happy. That project took me a really long time, and I just finished this second set of curtains, but it was well worth it. And yeah, it's just a cool, unique thing that now I get to look at. So, and my mom got, you know, she had all of this stuff, and she's like, here it is. So she did her minimalism when she sold her house, you know, a year ago, and she dropped them off. She brought me a big box and said, here you go. You wanted them? Here they are. So in that case, it was good to get something.
Heather, I totally am picturing, like, we got to get those Barbies out of those totes. Like they gotta come out of the tote. They gotta go somewhere where you can actually enjoy them. If there's something that you value and enjoy, they should be somewhere where we can see them.
So no, there's something that I would like to get rid of.
Okay.
I feel bad about it, you know, because they spent years collecting these and who knows how much money, and so yeah, I feel bad doing it, but they've been in totes since I was a kid. I think I've, you know, taken them out and looked at them, you know, once or twice.
So, Brighton, I think that's important that you feel bad. It's important to mention that when they gave them to you, they brought you joy then. Appreciate that, and they appreciate that. It's not like they're buying you Barbies now, right?
Nope.
So I think that they served their purpose. That's kind of like the small shoes, and say thank you. Like, so awesome. Take a bunch of pictures and enjoy them in that way, and let somebody else enjoy them now. Like they're not going to want you to have oodles of totes in your back room to be able to accommodate something that isn't bringing you joy, you know? But I know they appreciate the joy that it brought you when they gave them to you. Oh, I like that. Think about how much joy that lots of other little girls gonna love those suckers. Absolutely. Well, there's so many ways. Like, I know that we're over time, and I'm happy to continue conversation as long as you'd like. But you're welcome to email me. We kept it really broad today because, as you can see, we all have really different experiences in what we're shooting for. But there's tons of tips and tricks out there. I'm happy to chat with you. I know there were some people that had tech areas they were trying to minimize, and all different kinds of things. And we can certainly keep the conversation going. Deb, is everybody in the community here?
No. So Carolyn and Nick and Robin and Stephanie are going to be part of the Find Calm Here community, but I don't know that Priscilla or Heather are familiar. At least I don't think so.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. So I can just let you know that. So we're going to do these free virtual events every week. Right now we're having them on Saturdays, and we have them scheduled for the next couple Saturdays. And we have a person coming on to share kind of how they found calm in these different topics. So if you have a topic idea that you'd like to share with us, that you'd like us to talk about, then let us know. On the Facebook page, that would be great if you just send us a message or post it on the Facebook page. We do have a website, findcalmhere.com, and we're going to be launching a community in June, and there's going to be more details to come on this, but basically it's going to be a unique community where you can connect with all these Adrienne and Nick and Carolyn and myself and all these other people, and they're from all over the place. And you can also challenge yourself to find calm and figure out what you want to focus on, how to develop more things in your life. Like maybe you want to focus on the minimalism. So you have a focus on that. You set some goals, and we're going to help you in the community to reach those goals. So yeah, I'm excited about the community is coming up. Thank you so much, Adrienne, for talking about minimalism. It's been something that's you and I have talked about many, many times. Went to see the Minimalists and had played the Minsgame and all those things. So appreciate you sharing it with the Find Calm Here community.
So what are our next events, Deb? Should we share that with them?
Yeah, so next Saturday is going to be Find Calm with nutrition, and Joe is from Colorado. He's going to be coming on with us and talking to us about ways and tricks and tips and things like that to find calm with food, which is interesting because I'm sure there's foods he's going to tell us that are a little bit better than others. And then after that, we have Find Calm with Strength with Allison, and she's coming to us from Eugene, Oregon, and she's going to talk to us about just how she works with her clients and how she helps find calm through strength. And then Nick, who is on the call, is going to be on the 30th. So Nick, why don't you tell us about a little bit about your Find Calm conversation?
Yeah, so it's Find Calm with Adventure. I'm a life coach, and my whole method and approach is based on the idea that life is an adventure. And so in real broad terms, it's all about choosing your life adventure and living it with a coach. And so, letting go of this industrial age mindset that we've all been programmed with, and choosing a more playful, adventurous, and inspiring way to live. So it's going to be a good one. Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, I feel like this is the perfect tribe that I have been fortunate to stumble into, and so super excited to see where that goes and what emerges.
Cool. Thanks, Nick.
I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you guys sharing space with me for the last little over an hour. Our time is all really valuable, and it means a lot to be able to share it with you guys. And the majority of you I did not know until now. So it's really nice to meet you, and looking forward to continuing to connect with you all.
Very cool. All right. Anybody have any last thoughts? Anything they want to shout out, say? And then if not, everybody can wave, and you can unmute yourself and just say bye. Thank you to Adrienne for sharing her wisdom.
Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you. It's great to see you all.
Thank you.
Oh, there's Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh, there's Ryan.
I've been running around actually cleaning because this is like my good opportunity while listening to things to actually start straightening up and shredding and all sorts of stuff.
He's jumping right in.
You get an A for effort there, man. You're already on it. He's like, I'm not waiting till the end of this
it's like my only opportunity to do it because I'm always tied up with other stuff. So
cool. It was nice to meet you, Ryan. I'm glad you could join us.
You as well. Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna just say bye again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.